Eagles Nation, what is up? Views from the Link, Tom, back with another episode, and what can I say? I mean, training camp's coming up. Nothing much to say. I kind of started the video last time same way, but this is the second installment. If you saw Weekly Chirp, I'm just doing a follow-up because I only wanted to do the offensive players then and didn't want to make the video too long. So now I'm doing the top 5. If you didn't see the last video, the top 5 players to watch going into training camp now on the defensive side of the ball. So I wrote them down at work, and I want to stick to my list, so I got it right here. My number 5 guy. Now this was like tough. I mean, there's a lot of guys you want to watch, but these are the top 5 guys that I want to see going into training camp, see how they fit with the team. My number 5 guy, and it's one that probably many people wouldn't pick, but it's Chris Long. I think that the fact that he's versatile enough to play outside and then also kind of move inside and rush from the inside as well. And the coaching staff, immediately when they brought him in, that's kind of what the talk was, that he could play a little inside when they go into, packages that are pass rush, specific. You move him around and things like that, and he could probably play on either end. So, I mean, he's just a valuable backup, and I want to see how much he actually pushes these younger guys. Some of the young guys that are on this team. We all know that there's a slew of pass rushers in town, and you want to see them develop. And Chris Long's a guy that can lead by example, and he can push those guys. So I really want to see how he vibes with the team and how he gels into his role. Number 4. Now this is a pretty obvious one, and it's Tim Jernigan. He was a monster in the no-contact practices. Everyone was raving about how nobody could really stay in front of him. Now when the pads get on, you can bump each other around. That's when things get a little more. You see, especially going into preseason, you see what kind of talent he has and things like that when he's going against contact, when they're actually an opponent is across from him, and things like that. So it's not just a walkthrough; it's that contact in games when you see what kind of talent a defensive lineman really has. So those 2 guys for sure on the D line. I want to see they're NFL guys. They've been in the NFL. Chris Long's been in the NFL for a while, and Tim Jernigan's been in the NFL for a couple years now. So those are 2 guys that on the D-line, you got to evaluate them when the pads get on, and things like that. My number 3 is another D-line. It's Vinny Curry. Like I said, we have a slew of pass rushers, and honestly, he got a huge contract, and I want to see if he can produce, if he can get on the field, if he can stay on the field, if he can be on the field for 3 downs. And if he can, then you can ease Derek Barnett in and let him be fresh coming into the rotation and really attack and really get in there and make those plays, and it'll make him more effective. So Vinny Curry's a pretty big deal this year as far as if he can kind of be effective and find some type of rhythm, then he'll be really worth it. But the fact that they did draft Derek Barnett is a big time statement to where they think they are at defensive end. And maybe they do find something in Curry, and Graham's the guy that turns 30 and 31 and kind of he can just get out, and Vinny Curry's turning into something. So we'll see what happens as they develop. But Vinny Curry is definitely somebody I want to watch in this preseason training camp. Another D lineman. Number 2, Rasul Douglas and the young corner rotation. It's pretty obvious why. You have a lot of inexperience there, and you got to see how guys are going to gel. But I think that Rasul Douglas, he's going to be one of the guys you really count on this year at corner, and that's crazy because he's a 3rd-round pick, rookie out of West Virginia. So who knows how he plays. And then there's a guy, Jalen Mills, who's a young guy. Sidney Jones is injured. But these other young corners, Aaron Grimes you can even mention. See him in training camp. See him in preseason. Really stood out last year in a limited, just a small sample size. But see if he can build on that. He was injured last year. So we'll see what happens. But you have a ton of young corners that are going to have to really be counted on to make plays. So that's huge. And then the number 1 guy that you should look forward to, and I'm looking forward to in training camp on the defensive side of the ball, is Derek Barnett. Number 1 pick out of Tennessee, 14th overall, our number 1 pick. And the Eagles really, they think they have a special kid. They think they have a pass rusher that can become, an elite player in a couple years. And he's 20 years old. I believe he actually turned 21 recently in June. And I mean, sitting there at 14, and there's a lot of good players on the board, and you take Derek Barnett. He's pretty darn good, and I don't know if it will so much show fully this year, though I think he could make a pretty nice impact if this D-line is playing really well, and he's just in there contributing. But in the next few years, that he's only 21 years old. You can tell he's just not fully grown into his body yet. And a couple years in an NFL conditioning and strength program, strength and conditioning program, and you're going to see this guy come back one year and be like, what did he eat? Like, this dude has the frame to put on a nice body for a defensive end in the NFL. He's got some good outside moves. He's got to, diversify him a little bit and get some more moves. But I think he's kind of underrated with some of his other moves, and his hands at the line create moves that he can develop under NFL coaching and just getting experience. So that elite move that he has, that bend around the outside, I think that's going to be a nuisance for bigger tackles that have trouble bending and have, some back issues. Tyron Smith being one of them. Yeah, I'm going there. I'm being this bold. And to say that, I think early in Derek Barnett's career, he'll give some tackles that are pretty darn good some trouble with that outside move on a couple plays. He's quick. He can get underneath. He can turn a corner really, really low off the ground. And it's just tough for a 6'5" offensive tackle to get that low and stay, in front of a guy that can just slither underneath you like that and beat you with, fresh speed. He's 21 years old, so I think with raw skill, he'll make some plays, but look for him to develop, and it's how bad he wants it and how big and good and fast and athletic that guy gets, because he has the potential, and he's really who I'm looking forward to this training camp and preseason. I want to see him, but obviously it's going to take a while to be able to go up and beat guys like Tyron Smith consistently. But that's why these training camps and things like that, they're good for all these young players, because those are the guys you're going to have to go up against for this D-line for a while. So that's a big part of early in your career. You got to realize you're going up against guys like Trent Williams, Tyron Smith. You're going up against tackles around the league, that are professionals that have been, all pros forever. So, this is the time it starts, and that's why you got to look for these guys in training camp. So that's my top 5. Comment below with who you think, and the drill. Instagram, Twitter, that kind of sums it up for training camp. And suggest another video. What do you guys want to see? I got a lot of time on my hands now. I'm just living in an apartment pretty much, by myself for right now, because me and the co-host of this show, Steve, are not living in the same apartment anymore in Los Angeles. So I'm just putting up videos and, giving some content, some Eagles thoughts. So hit me up, request a video, and, I'll put it out, because, I love talking birds. So that's it for tonight, though. Hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. Fly, Eagles, fly. I guess there's nothing more to say. See you later, guys.